Hello everyone and welcome to this edition of Talking Outdoors. My name is Rami Rasamny and today we're talking about our Chamonix Valley treks. So first question out the door, what does a day look like on the Chamonix Valley Treks adventure? And the answer is, well, we always start in a hotel. In fact, the same hotel. That's probably the best part of this trip, is that we get to hit all the highlight trails of the area, but we always go back to one hotel so we don't have to pack and repack and unpack and worry about what we're taking with us and what we're leaving behind. Everything kind of stays in one place, and that really makes a huge difference for those of us who are looking for that little extra comfort. So every day we're starting in our Chamonix Valley hotel. We'll have breakfast, hear about where we're heading, and then make our way to the trailhead. Sometimes that involves just a short walk to the trailhead. Sometimes we take a cable car up. Sometimes we're taking a mountain train, but kind of everything starts and ends in Chamonix, and we hit all the most incredible spaces, the most incredible trails, the most incredible views that you can do whilst being fully based in Chamonix for the entire week. So, question about previous requirements. There are absolutely no previous requirements or prerequisites to join this adventure. Chamonix Valley Treks is designed in a way to really adapt to your level. If you're somebody who wants to push a little harder, then there are ways throughout the day where you can choose to either skip on a cable or take the longer trail down, or spend a little bit more time. Or not skip any days. And then for those of us who are looking to do something a little bit chiller, there are always going to be options to be able to skip on some of the uphills, take some cables up, take some cables down, maybe skip a day if we're not feeling it on day 2 or day 3, feeling sore. So it's all adapted to you and what you're feeling, and there's no pressure like there would be on other trips or other trekking trips where we have to get from point A to point B. We don't have that pressure. We can always adapt to you, and even if the rest of the group is looking to push a little bit harder, the fact that there is both a guide and a team leader with you throughout the entire experience means that we can be flexible and adapt to your needs and what you're looking for. So, question about fitness and how fit you have to be. Look, with the Chamonix Valley Treks, of course, and like every outdoor pursuit, having some level of physical fitness will enable you to enjoy it. It means that you can walk for longer, you can see most of what's available, you can complete most of the trails from beginning to end. So of course, that's something that would be good to have. But you don't have to be an athlete or somebody who works out regularly to really enjoy this. These are beautiful long walks that are in some of the most spectacular places on the planet. You really don't have to be an athlete to experience these. Just consider this trip maybe as something that could kickstart a fitness journey for you, or maybe just allow it to put you in the state of mind where you might want to start to prepare yourself for this. But this is really an adventure that can be adapted to you and to your level. So, like I said, if you want this to be something that's going, where you're pushing really hard, then great, you do you. Work out and prepare yourself for that. And if you're somebody who just wants to really take it easy, enjoy the trail slowly, and not really push and take, wherever it's possible to take an easier route or to skip a section or maybe skip a day, then that's equally fine too. So you prepare for it in the way that you feel you want to experience this, because like I said, it's a fully adapted experience. So, question about weather and temperature. Look, this is the Chamonix Valley, usually done in the summer months, and so that could be quite the fluctuation. I would say for the most part, we're in shorts and t-shirts, especially when the sun is out. But of course, sometimes it is raining, or sometimes it can be a little bit gloomy, and when it is, maybe it gets a little bit windy. So temperatures can fluctuate. It could go anything from 26, 27 degrees Celsius, sometimes even higher than that during these frequent heat waves that have been hitting the valley more recently. And then also it can dip down to kind of high single digits, 9, 10, maybe 11, 12, depending on if there's some wind and some cloud cover, which also does happen from time to time. It's quite infrequent to have some really harsh weather down in the valley, but it can happen, especially if we are in some of the higher regions that the trails do reach. So just stick to the gear list, make sure that you have everything that's there, and you will be prepared for every eventuality. And in any case, your team leader and your guide will have the weather forecast every day and will be able to tell you what to take with you in order to be fully prepared for the weather conditions of the day that you're going to be trekking. So accommodation, and what is that like? Yeah, look, we're in the valley the entire time, so we use very good accommodation. Usually it's quite the unique stuff because we feel that accommodation is very much part of the overall experience, and so we want you to have as authentic an experience as possible, but without breaching that minimum standard of having good bedrooms, like clean, well kept, restaurant, common area, so all the minimum standards that you can expect from a good quality resort town hotel. That's what the accommodation is like throughout the entire experience, because we'll be spending all of our nights starting and ending at the same hotel. So question about getting single accommodation. It is available for this experience, but it's also subject to availability at the hotel. So this is something that you need to reach out to us about in advance of the trip to make sure that we can secure that for you. So once you know that you're joining and you know that a single accommodation is something that you want, please do reach out to us at the Basecamp team, and we will be able to lock that in for you. The earlier you let us know, the more likely we'll be able to secure that for you for the duration of your trip. So question about altitude and what the highest point is that we reach. So as a starting point, let me just say that altitude related illnesses are not a factor on this experience because we don't really breach 3,000 meters at any point whilst we're trekking. Having said that, we do make one little ascent by cable car to 3,800 meters to the summit of Aiguille du Midi, and that's something that's purely done by cable car, and it's just an opportunity for us to go and see the Mont Blanc up close. There's a viewing platform. It's kind of a tourist attraction. It's also an exit for mountaineers to access the glacier up there. But we won't be doing any kind of strenuous activity. We'll just be visiting the museum, going up to the platform, and then taking the cable back down. So it isn't really that concerning. However, your team leader and your LHO guide are fully equipped to deal with any eventuality, and that's something that they will be able to handle if it does occur. But it is really the very, very low risk on this experience, and only for that short period of time where we're doing something that is quite the tourist attraction for most people who come to the Chamonix Valley. So question about fitting everything into a 30-liter backpack and how we go about doing that. So a big part of this experience is to kind of learn as well. I mean, we're trekking and we're enjoying these beautiful views, but at the same time, there's a bit of a learning curve, especially for those of us who've never been trekking before. So learning how to efficiently pack a backpack for the day is one of those things that's a very efficient life skill to know. And a 30-liter backpack is, I would say, for a single day use, is actually quite large because we don't need to carry anything that requires us to overnight anywhere else. We'll be going back to the same hotel every day, so all you really need is the layers for the day. So if we might experience some rain, so we'd have our rain poncho, we'd have a couple of extra warm layers, maybe some snacks, the packed lunch that we're going to be taking with us, and the water. That's about it. Everything else stays in the hotel, and your LHO team leader and your mountain guide will be with you throughout the entire experience to help you pack daily and let you know what goes in the bag for each day. They'll let you know the night before in the briefing based on weather conditions and based on where you're going. So I wouldn't worry too much about a 30-liter backpack for a few hours. Okay, so it's a full day, but still not overnighting on the mountain. 30 liters is way more than what is needed for that amount of time being exposed. So question about backpack brands and ones to consider. I would say, look, there are lots of great backpack brands out there that you can go for, and they're just so many. Just things to consider really are, I would go for something that's waterproof, or at least comes with a waterproof bag cover. I look for something that is efficient, so maybe it has pockets for water bottles. Maybe it's got the space where I can put a water bladder in and the straw can come out. I'm looking for something that doesn't have too many clips and zips and all of that. Personally, I like to go for something that's a bit more like a trunk, but I also appreciate that, especially for trekking, there are lots of uses for things that have zippers. So maybe something for the phone, maybe something for the snacks. That's definitely something to go for as well. I would also make sure that fit is super important. It needs to fit comfortably, just above, like the strap needs to fit comfortably just above your hip, and also on your shoulders, so that the weight is dispersed between your shoulders and your hips. It isn't fully on your shoulders, which a lot of people who come to trekking for the first time, they tend to have, it's all on the shoulders. So it's actually important to find a fit of a backpack that allows you to easily disperse the weight between your shoulders and your hips using the strap that goes around the waist. So I think those are kind of the main considerations: waterproofing, fit, and finding a configuration that works for you. Me personally, I like to go for something that's more like a trunk. So it's just one big pocket that I stuff everything into. But for other people, they prefer something that has compartments and zippers, and that's also quite efficient, especially if you are somebody who wants to access your snacks or access different things at different points without having to pull everything out. So question about renting gear in Chamonix. The answer is yes, you can of course rent gear in Chamonix, and you can also buy gear in Chamonix. Chamonix is like the trekking adventure capital of Europe. I don't think that's an overstatement. Every kind of mountain activity you can imagine is happening over there, and all the stores, or at least the famous brands, all have some kind of footprint or flagship even in the main city center. So there's lots of gear, but what I would say is it's very important to try and bring as much as you can of your own stuff with you, just because you may not have enough time to do all the shopping that you want before the trip, unless you're coming a few days ahead of time, or you might not find the right size or the right particulars that you yourself want. I know that color coding can sometimes be a thing. I still don't get it, but then I'm also a bit tone deaf when it comes to these things. So do consider your own needs, and also consider that you may not always find everything you want at the last minute. And yeah, so that's the long answer to a short question, which was, can I rent gear? And the answer is yes. Question about insurance and whether it covers hiking. It's important for you to check with your own insurance providers. Some insurance providers do cover trekking below certain altitudes as a standard part of the package, and since we are not trekking to anything that can be considered high altitude, usually it does cover, but it's important for you to check with your insurance providers to find out if that's the case. The two things that are usually the concern, the first is altitude, so you need to make sure that you are covered to the highest altitude within our itinerary, and you also need to make sure that trekking as a sport is something that is covered as well. And if those two things align, then your insurance covers it. If not, then do reach out to us. We have insurance partners who can help cover this and all our other adventure travel experiences. So, question about what makes the Chamonix Valley treks so special. So, look, Chamonix Valley is one of the most spectacular places on the planet. The Mont Blanc dominates the skyline, of course, but the Mont Blanc isn't all there is in that area. You have the Aiguille Rouge, you have all the other 4,000-meter summits like the Dent de Géant, the Aiguille Verte. There are just so many gigantic mountains all over the place, and the glaciers feel so close. Even when you're down in Chamonix, you feel like the Bosson Glacier is kind of almost touching the town. It really is quite unique because although you have other big glaciers in different places around the world, it never feels as close as it does when you're in the Chamonix Valley, because it's a very deep valley surrounded by very high mountains. You also have this incredible vibe in the town. It is the capital of alpinism globally, I think. So you have such an energy there. People are there for climbing, paragliding, anywhere where your eyes can see. You'll see something going on. You'll see paragliders in the sky. You'll see rafters going down the river. You'll see alpinists walking into the cafe with their gear still on, or maybe just fresh, about to head out before the last cable closes. I mean, there's always something going on there. The energy is amazing, and the treks are beautiful. They are lush, they're green, the backdrops are beautiful. It really is a unique place in the world, and I think something that everybody who enjoys hiking and trekking should experience at least once in their life. Whether it's through the Chamonix Valley treks, whether it's through the Tour de Mont Blanc, whether it's through alpinism, whether it's through other kinds of activities, Chamonix is definitely one of those towns that everybody should experience once in their life.